And we are live. Hello and welcome to MLM for CEOs. This is a channel aimed at decision makers in companies, aimed at those people who want to use MLM as a route to market. So in this channel, we try to give you everything that you need to set up and run a multi-level marketing business. And today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be dealing with level-based commissions. Now, when I started writing this PowerPoint presentation, I thought this was going to be a really simple presentation because it's a very simple compensation rule. But as I dug into it, I discovered that it actually is quite complex to understand from a company point of view. From a member point of view, super easy to understand. But from a company point of view, it's a little more complex than what first meets the eye. So let's dive in and let me show you what this is all about. So within a level-based compensation plan, we are always looking at the commissions relative to where you are or where the person who's being paid is. So if you have a look here, let's say that you recruit Mary. Well, Mary will be in your level 1. If Mary recruits Joan, Joan will be in your level 2. And if Joan recruits John, that will be in your level 3. Mark will be in your level 4. Fred in your level 5. So you can see as they move away from you, they change levels. So the deeper they are in your network, the more levels they are away from you. So relative to you, Mary's level 1, Fred is level 5. Now let's say we are paying 10% on level 1, 8% level 2, 6% level 3, 4% level 4, and 2% on level 5. That would be kind of a typical type of scenario. What happens if we look at the network from Mary's point of view? Well, from Mary's point of view, Joan is her level 1. Remember, it was your level 2, but it's Mary's level 1. John will be Mary's level 2, Mark Mary's level 3, and Fred is Mary's level 4. Fred is still your level 5. So nothing changes when it comes to your position. So Fred relative to you is still your level 5, but relative to Mary, it's her level 4. Of course, if we have a look at Joan, then again, Mark is her level, John is her level 1, Mark is her level 2, Fred is her level 3. Again, still Mary's level 4, still your level 5, still Joan's level 3. So everybody is in a position in the network relative to the person whose commission you're looking at. And that doesn't change. It's always a relative situation. So John is still your level 3. John is still Mary's level 2. And you still have to pay Joan and Mary and you on any sales that are happening, for example, that Fred does. So whatever the sales are happening, it goes up and it looks to see who it needs to allocate the funds to, and it allocates those funds. Now, when it comes to actually paying the commissions, when it comes to that part of the business, in actual fact, the entire situation is inverted. The software doesn't look from the top down. When we're discussing this with the network, it's top down. Hey, somebody's in your level 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. But when it comes to actually calculating the commissions, everything gets inverted. In other words, everything is based on where the sale originates from. So let's take a look at that. Let's say Fred here, right down at the bottom of the network, makes a $100 sale. The commission calculates upline. So the commission is going to try and see who it needs to allocate the funds to. Here we go. Mark is one level above where the sale took place. So the sale actually took place in Mark's level 1. Therefore, Mark would be allocated 10%. John, the sale took place 2 levels down. So in actual fact, relative to John, that sale is 2 levels down. So 8% gets allocated. Joan, the sale took place in level 3 for her. Then Mary, it was on level 4, and you, it was on level 5. So what happens here is that the sale took place down at level 5 relative to you. But when the system calculates, it looks up, it says, okay, I've got to allocate level 1 commission. Looks up one level, it sees, I found somebody, that's Mark, let me give him 10%. That's my level 1 commission. Now I have to allocate level 2 commissions. So it goes up another level, it finds John, allocates the level 2 commission. Then it goes up and allocates Joan the level 3 commission, and so on and so forth until it gets to the top and runs out of commissions to allocate. So when it comes to the company is looking up from the sale. When it comes from the member is looking down from the sale. So the company says, well, we're paying out 30% up the line. It has to make sure it allocates that 30% and doesn't over allocate anything. Now, this leads to a concept called breakage. And breakage starts off, your first kind of breakage is proximity to the top. Now, what is breakage? Breakage is the retained commissions. Breakage is the commission that you don't pay out due to several factors. The first of these factors is proximity. So the closer the sale happens to the top of the network, the greater the breakage. In this example, the sale happened with Joan. So Joan made the sale. There's only 2 levels above Joan. So that means when the system comes to allocating commission, it allocates 10% to Mary and it allocates 8% to you. But that leaves 3 levels above you which don't exist. They don't exist at all. So those 3 levels above don't exist. That means that there is 6 plus 4 plus 2% allocated above, which is retained by the company. And that's called breakage. So you thought you were going to have to pay out 30%, but you retain a bunch of commissions and you don't. Well, that's 12% you retain and you don't have to pay that 12% out. So that's breakage. So a couple of rules here. You never give away the top position, because if you give away the top position, then that breakage gets given away. And that costs the company a serious amount of money. The second thing that you want to do to maximize breakage in this particular scenario, in other words, due to proximity, is the company should have 100 company-sponsored lines, minimum, 100 minimum company-sponsored lines. Because the wider you can go on the front line, the greater number of people will be in close proximity to the top, and therefore the greater amount of breakage that you will achieve. The less people you have in your front line, the deeper your network will go, the lower the amount of breakage you will get. Now, breakage is not there for the company to make a lot more money. Breakage is there for the company to promise a lot more money. The second kind of breakage is non-qualification breakage. Let's say that you are everybody in your network is bronze. And let's say bronze members only earn on level 1. So you only earn on level 1 and you're bronze. That means if the sale happens down at Fred, the system goes up. It says, is Mark a bronze? Yes, he is. Fantastic. Pay him his 10%. Then it goes up to John and says, what rank is John? John is only a bronze. He doesn't qualify for level 2 commissions, so therefore do not pay him. Joan the same, Mary the same, you the same. So the system should have paid out 30%, only paid out 10% because John, Joan, Mary, and you were all bronze and didn't qualify for that commission. In this scenario, you can see we have 20% breakage. Now, let's say everybody in the team is a silver. Now, silvers earn on, say, level 1, 2, and 3. That means the system would go up. Mark's a silver, pay him 10%. John's a silver, pay him 8%. Joan is a silver, pay her 6%. Mary is a silver, therefore doesn't qualify for level 4. Don't pay her anything. You are silver, don't qualify for level 5. Don't pay you anything. That means that we retain 6% in breakage. Of course, if everybody was a gold and say gold's earned on all 5 levels, the system would pay out maximum commission if the sale happened 5 levels deep. So the second kind of breakage, which is a very important kind of breakage, the second kind of breakage is based on the rank that a person qualifies for. Now, we recommend highly to all of our clients that you have some form of ranking in there, because what you don't want to do is you don't want some person sitting at the top of the network just completely taking all of the cash for having been lucky enough to recruit one person who goes completely crazy. So we'll talk about ranking in a future part of the series. But right now, the concept is that you should have ranks, and the ranks should progressively give people access to low and low commissions. Again, the reason being is we want to create some breakage within the system. So if John is a bronze, again, you can have breakage in the middle of this entire system. If John is a bronze, so you've got one person who's a bronze in amongst the sea of golds, what would happen is John would not get paid because John doesn't qualify for commission on Fred because he's only a bronze. Therefore, you would have an 8% breakage in a scenario like this. Now, if you have a look at breakage, the average breakage in a level-based commission structure is around 40%. So on average, you are paying out 60% and you have 40% breakage. So that means that you could actually offer more commission, you could promise greater numbers, and still achieve the same 30% payout goal. So let's say that we are promising to pay out 30%. The reality is that you would actually only pay out 18%, so 60% of the 30%. That is the reality, because breakage kicks in, and on average, it's going to pay out around about 60% of what you're promising. Now, let's say that you wanted to actually pay out 30%. Well, you could just take your commissions, divide by 0.6, and then round down, and that would give you a very safe space to play in terms of promising commissions. So you promise 48%, but in reality, you only pay out 30%. So if we have a look at that, that would mean you would be paying out 16% on one level up, 13% 2 levels up, 10% 3 levels up, 6% 4 levels up, 3% 5 levels up, giving you a promise of 48%. Sorry about that animation. I obviously didn't do that quite right, but you got a promise of 48%, but you actually pay out 30%. Now, when you are promising 48%, that looks really great. And the reality is some people in your network will actually in some cases, you will pay out the full 48%. But as a company, that is not what you're concerned about. As a company, you want to know that your average payout does not exceed 30%. Your average payout should be 30%. Your promise is 48%. Some of your top performers are going to earn 48%. In other words, you're going to pay out 48% in some cases, but on average, you'll only pay out 30%. And so that allows you to promise much bigger commissions in a level-based commission structure while still maintaining some level of sanity within what you are actually paying out. So again, I just want to mention to you, when you talk to your network, the network is looking down. They're saying, okay, I'm going to get 10% on my level 1, and I'm going to get 8% on my level 2, and I'm going to get 6% on my level 3, or whatever it is, and they are looking down their network. And if you look down the network as a company, you can get quite freaked out because it looks like you're giving away the farm. But as a company, if you take the amount of money that has been generated by a sale on a single invoice, and you take that amount and you look up the network, by looking up the network, you see that that invoice only ever pays out a maximum of whatever it is you've set those commissions to pay out. And so you're not worried about the masses of numbers out there. You're worried about on an individual basis, invoice by invoice, because one single invoice will never ever pay out more than what you've set your commissions to. And generally, if you take breakage into account, you will never ever generate more than your 30% or whatever your target number is. That will always be the same. Well, guys, that's it for this particular session. I hope that gave you some insight into what this is all about, how a level-based commissions work. And I hope this gives you some mechanisms or methods to go out and really expand on that level-based commission to make sure that you are not underpaying your people. For example, if you are targeting 30%, making that a 30% total is not ever going to meet that goal. You have to take it and make it, like I said, around 48% to hit the 30% goal. Now, there's one other thing that I will be dealing with in the series, and that is normalization. Because one of the things that you don't ever want to do is overpay on a commission. You don't want to be promising 48%, targeting 30%, and land up paying 35%. That's a disaster. So there are strategies called normalizations that allow you to normalize the compensation plan to never exceed the promise. So you can promise 48%, target 30%, and then normalize at 30%. But I'll get to that in another session in the series. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining me. Remember that we are on Facebook, and we are on Spotify, and we're on YouTube. So go in there. Please like us, follow us. We're looking for as many followers as possible because that helps us to get live streaming and to get more traffic and to rank our content. So please like us and follow us. And I look forward to seeing you in the next session. Thanks for joining me. Cheers.